Hey Jess, will we see a royal reunion or not?
Hey Carl, well, we'll wait to see because Harry is here for 4 days. He's kicked off his visit back home by visiting the Well Child Awards. He has been patron of this charity for some 18 years. He gave a very heartfelt speech there. It celebrates seriously ill children. But prior to that, and just after he landed, he laid a wreath at the burial site of his late grandmother, Queen Elizabeth II. Only 11 kilometres away were his brother and sister-in-law. They were also honouring the Queen by visiting the Women's Institute, of which the Queen was a member of for some 80 years. William telling the ladies there he can't believe it's been 3 years since her passing, and I have to agree.
The clock is ticking for Prince Harry, and not the gentle ticking of a grandfather clock in some quiet palace hallway. No, this one sounds more like a countdown in a suspense film, echoing louder by the minute as royal tensions simmer behind those famously closed Buckingham Palace doors. While King Charles faces his illness with a mixture of public calm and private determination, Prince William is quietly stepping forward with something far more strategic in mind. And according to Palace Whispers, that strategy could redraw Harry's place in royal history entirely. Titles, legacy, royal privileges, the whole glittering package, potentially swept away in one decisive move. Imagine a royal reset button being pressed, and Harry's name suddenly blinking off the screen. At this very moment, Harry is reportedly high above the Atlantic Ocean. But this isn't one of those warm family visits where everyone smiles for the cameras and pretends everything is perfectly splendid. Not even close.
Because there are reports that Prince Harry, Meghan Markle and their children could be set to lose their royal titles if and when Prince William becomes monarch.
So that they would no longer have a title whatsoever, and their children would lose what Meghan Markle once referred to as their birthright.
William is willing to cut a limb in order to save the body. He's willing to even sacrifice the titles of his children in order to clean the Windsor house, because enough is enough. And Harry and Meghan know it, and they're absolutely panicking.
This flight feels less like a homecoming and more like a man racing against the clock, hoping to stop something irreversible before it's too late. Sources close to Buckingham Palace claim Harry boarded a private jet the moment he sensed danger approaching. And we're not talking about mild palace gossip or the usual tabloid grumbling. The monarchy, insiders say, isn't merely considering its options anymore. Behind the scenes, conversations have allegedly turned serious. Serious enough to discuss removing the Duke and Duchess of Sussex's titles once and for all. King Charles's cancer diagnosis didn't just alter the tone of royal appearances or shift a few schedules around. According to insiders, it shook the very foundation of how power flows inside the royal household. What the world sees as a health crisis has, behind closed doors, triggered something much larger. A silent reshuffling of authority. Palace observers have even started calling it the quiet succession. And the man standing at the center of it all? Prince William. Once known for his reserved demeanor and careful distance from palace drama, William is now reportedly stepping into a far more commanding role. While King Charles focuses on his treatment and recovery, William has been handling strategy meetings, diplomatic briefings, and the delicate task of steering the monarchy's public image. In short, he's running the show. And if royal insiders are to be believed, William's leadership style could not be more different from his father's. Charles has long been described as someone who leads with emotion and patience, often guided by compassion. William, on the other hand, reportedly approaches the monarchy like a finely tuned machine. Precise, controlled, and ruthlessly efficient. Charles governs with heart. William governs with strategy. And in William's version of the monarchy, there's little room for sentimental reunions or emotional second chances, especially when the stakes involve the crown's reputation. To him, the monarchy isn't simply a family anymore. It's an institution.
That's what
I really do feel it will happen, and I think it's important to note that it won't be a revenge play by William.
And perhaps more importantly, a global brand that must be protected at all costs. And as anyone in business will tell you, brands survive on reputation. Damage the reputation and the entire structure begins to wobble. From William's perspective, at least according to those palace whispers, Harry and Meghan are no longer misunderstood royals seeking independence. They're seen as liabilities. Walking public relations storms that refuse to pass. Every headline-making interview, every streaming deal, every explosive tell-all book has chipped away at the carefully polished image the monarchy spent generations building. And if insiders are correct, William's patience has officially reached its limit. One royal source reportedly summed it up with brutal simplicity. William's cleaning house. The monarchy isn't a charity for wayward royals. That single line speaks volumes. For years, King Charles's compassion kept the door open for Harry longer than many palace aides expected. No matter how stormy the headlines became, Charles still seemed to hope reconciliation might one day happen. But now, the atmosphere appears to be changing. With William increasingly taking the reins, sentimentality may no longer play a starring role in royal decision-making. When that crown, symbolic or real, rests firmly on William's head, insiders believe he won't hesitate to remove anyone he feels threatens the institution's stability. And unfortunately for Harry, guess whose name reportedly sits right at the top of that list? Before boarding that transatlantic flight, Harry made one final attempt to bridge the widening gap. He reportedly requested a private meeting with both his father and his brother. No cameras, no speeches, just a simple conversation, man to man, son to father, brother to brother. But the palace response? Silence. Not a confirmation. Not a polite decline. Not even the sort of carefully worded statement the royal household usually delivers when things get awkward. Nothing. And in the royal world, silence rarely means indifference. Quite the opposite. Silence can be a statement of power, an unspoken reminder that the monarchy operates on its own timeline with its own rules. It says quite clearly,
relationship between William and Andrew, but I think Harry and Meghan should be shaking in their boots right now if they are not already. And they could have had the best of all worlds if they had played their cards right, but this...
We hold the cards, and we don't need to explain the game. Behind the scenes, sources claim William's advisors have been developing this strategy for months. Officially, it's being framed as part of a broader effort to modernize the monarchy. But palace watchers know that phrase often comes with a very specific translation. Streamline the institution, tighten the image, remove the complications. In simpler terms, cut loose anyone who weakens the brand. And according to those same whispers, that plan is gaining momentum, which makes Harry's sudden flight across the Atlantic feel less like a family reunion and more like a final attempt to slow down the clock. While Harry appears to be searching for peace, insiders say William is searching for results. He's not interested in emotional reunions, heartfelt apologies, or long family therapy sessions. He's focused on one mission, restoring the monarchy's authority and protecting its image in a rapidly changing world. One decision at a time, one headline at a time, one royal name at a time. William's objective, according to those who know the inner workings of the palace, is crystal clear. He intends to remove the noise, close the ranks, and prove that the crown still commands respect. And every move, every calculated silence, every carefully timed decision reinforces the same message: control. Even palace insiders who once felt sympathy for Harry now seem to be growing colder about the situation. As one source bluntly told the Mirror, Harry knew the risks all along. Now he's facing the consequences. And that single line says everything. When Harry's plane finally touches down in London, he won't be stepping into a warm family embrace or a sentimental reunion scene. No. He's walking straight toward a palace that now feels more like a fortress than a home. The gates may still open for him, yes, but don't expect red carpets or relieved smiles waiting on the other side. The atmosphere inside royal walls has reportedly shifted dramatically. Harry is no longer viewed as the cherished son who once charmed crowds with easy smiles and quick humor. In palace strategy discussions, he's increasingly seen as something far more complicated, an unpredictable risk hovering too close to the throne. And in an institution built entirely on control and reputation, risk is a word that sends alarm bells ringing louder than the tower bells on a state holiday. Before her passing, Queen Elizabeth II didn't just leave behind a historic reign and a carefully maintained institution. According to insiders, she also left very specific warnings, quiet instructions meant to protect the monarchy long after she was gone. One of those warnings, palace observers claim, was directed squarely at Meghan Markle. Her Majesty reportedly told Meghan never to use her royal title for profit. But according to critics within royal circles, Meghan didn't simply overlook that advice. She built an entire empire around it, from the podcast Archetypes to the high-profile Netflix series, and even her publishing ventures. Nearly every project carried the sparkle of her Duchess title. And now the situation may be heating up even more. Rumors of Meghan's possible cosmetics venture have sent another ripple through royal watchers. Instagram teasers showing polished clips of Meghan applying lipstick, with labels carefully hidden, have sparked intense speculation. Inside royal circles, those clips reportedly landed like a thunderbolt. To Prince William, insiders say this wasn't merely ambition, it looked like open defiance. In Meghan's world, she's crafting a new identity, a modern entrepreneur, a media creator, perhaps even a beauty industry visionary. Meetings with fashion and lifestyle powerhouses like Vogue, Chloe, and Molly signal a deliberate reinvention. She's positioning herself as a global tastemaker with influence stretching far beyond royal protocol. But from William's perspective, the optics are entirely different. What Meghan frames as independence, palace critics see as exploitation of royal status. The crown, they argue, isn't meant to be turned into a marketing logo. And that brings the conversation back to Queen Elizabeth's original warning. The message was simple and firm: no royal should ever sell the crown. Whether Meghan intended it or not, critics claim her ventures are drifting dangerously close to that line. The same royal system that once elevated her status could now become the reason that status is taken away entirely. Ironically, Meghan's original goal was independence. She and Harry stepped away from royal duties to build a life free from palace constraints. But independence, in the royal universe, often comes with a steep price tag, and that price may soon become painfully clear. Then came the numbers that shook Buckingham Palace like a thunderclap. A YouGov poll. According to the survey, nearly half of Britain, 47%, believe Meghan Markle poses a greater threat to the monarchy than Prince Andrew. Yes, that Prince Andrew. Pause for a moment and let that statistic settle in. A former Hollywood actress now viewed by many as more damaging to the crown than a man linked to one of the monarchy's most serious controversies. In royal politics, numbers like that are impossible to ignore. For Prince William, insiders say the poll was more than just public opinion, it was confirmation. For months, he had reportedly warned King Charles that public patience was wearing thin. The monarchy, he argued, survives on credibility. Without it, even centuries of tradition begin to wobble. And now the data appear to support his argument. According to palace sources, when William saw those numbers, his patience finally snapped. He doesn't want to wait for Parliament, one insider reportedly said. He wants it handled, now. The poll didn't merely reflect the national mood. In William's eyes, it delivered something even more powerful: permission. The public had spoken. Their loyalty, it seemed, was leaning toward protecting the institution rather than defending the Sussex brand. Meanwhile, Meghan's team reportedly dismissed the poll as the product of media bias. But inside Buckingham Palace, the reaction was very different. Palace strategists saw the numbers as validation that their tightening strategy was working. The message was unmistakable. The monarchy may be centuries old, but it still operates like a modern institution. And in modern institutions, public trust functions a lot like customer loyalty. If the customers lose faith, drastic action follows. In what insiders jokingly call William's Britain, that leads to one inevitable conclusion: terminate the contract. Inside palace corridors, whispers are no longer just whispers. They're turning into plans, detailed, deliberate, and methodical. And William's next move, according to insiders, won't be emotional. It will be surgical. Step 1. Deal with Prince Andrew publicly. Parliament will strip him of every remaining title and privilege in full view of the world. To Harry and Meghan, the message coming from the palace feels cold, precise, and almost mechanical in its certainty. Whatever this situation once was, brotherly tension, family misunderstandings, the occasional dramatic headline, it has now evolved into something far more serious. This isn't sibling drama anymore. It's a full-scale royal restructuring. Prince William's vision for the monarchy, insiders say, is strikingly straightforward. No more emotional baggage trailing behind the institution. No more unpredictable public relations storms swirling around palace gates. Instead, William reportedly wants a monarchy that operates like a sleek modern corporation, disciplined, polished, and always carefully managed, powerful, efficient, and perfectly branded. And within that streamlined royal blueprint, Harry and Meghan, with their Netflix deals, headline-grabbing interviews, and high-profile media ventures, appear to stand out as the biggest complications of all. What makes William's alleged strategy particularly clever is the way it's framed. On the surface, it doesn't look like revenge or retaliation. Not at all. Officially, it looks like reform. Tidy, sensible modernization designed to bring the monarchy in line with a changing world. Once Parliament establishes the necessary precedent, the Crown could simply say it's following updated protocol. On paper, it's procedure. Simple, administrative, almost boring. But inside palace corridors, observers suspect the reality is far more strategic. To them, it resembles a carefully planned chess match. And William may already be setting up his final move. As King Charles quietly focuses on his health, William's presence inside royal decision-making grows stronger by the day. Briefings, strategy sessions, long-term planning. He's increasingly operating like a monarch in waiting. Every discussion about the future of the crown now seems to carry his fingerprints. And that shift, insiders say, is exactly what makes Harry uneasy. The dynamics that once protected him are gone. There is no Princess Diana to mediate between brothers. No father in full command of the institution able to soften difficult decisions. And no Queen Elizabeth II quietly smoothing tensions behind the scenes. King Charles may prefer reconciliation and peace, but the heir to the throne reportedly has a different priority: control. In William's emerging vision of the monarchy, mercy may simply be a luxury the institution can no longer afford. Meanwhile, Meghan Markle continues pursuing her own strategy, one built on visibility, reinvention, and carefully curated storytelling. Her latest project, the podcast Confessions of a Female Founder, arrived with plenty of buzz and polished promotion. But industry reactions have been complicated. Audience numbers appeared modest, critics offered mixed reviews, and the earlier Spotify partnership ended without much fanfare. Yet despite that uneven reception, Meghan proudly highlighted 2 Signal Awards connected to the show, presenting them as a major achievement. Observers in media circles sometimes call this the Meghan effect, the ability to transform image into influence. In that world, perception can matter just as much as measurable success. Every headline, every camera flash, every perfectly framed social media post helps reinforce the narrative she's building. Still, behind the glossy presentation, murmurs have begun to circulate. Former collaborators quietly suggest the project leaned heavily on style while struggling to deliver lasting substance. Even some voices within her broader circle have reportedly noted that Meghan's intense focus on image management may have strained professional relationships. And according to royal insiders, this is precisely where William's team believes it holds the advantage. They're reportedly turning Meghan's image-driven strategy back against her, treating every exaggerated headline or inflated claim as evidence that her brand clashes with the monarchy's traditional emphasis on restraint and dignity. To critics within palace walls, Meghan's bold, media-savvy approach feels less like modernization and more like rebellion dressed in designer heels. For years, Meghan built her influence on perception, but perception can shift quickly, especially under relentless public scrutiny. There was a time when Prince Harry seemed practically untouchable. The rebellious younger prince who charmed crowds, broke a few royal rules, and somehow became a global favorite along the way. But insiders now say the picture looks very different behind the scenes. The once defiant royal reportedly appears weighed down by the very rebellion that once made him famous. The freedom he once spoke about with such confidence has, according to observers, taken on a heavier tone. California was meant to be paradise. Sunshine, ocean air, and a fresh start far from palace corridors, a place where Harry and Meghan could write their own story. But lately, critics say that dream setting has started to look less like paradise, and more like the backdrop to a slow and very public unraveling. Sources describe Harry as restless and uncertain, a man searching for solid ground between 2 worlds that no longer quite fit. Without the structure of royal life, his identity appears to feel complicated. No longer the soldier prince defined by service and duty, not fully a Hollywood power player commanding the entertainment industry either. Just Harry Windsor, navigating a strange middle space between monarchy and celebrity. That fiery confidence that once defined him. Insiders claim it has softened into something closer to reflection. Some say even desperation. Harry has reportedly been reaching out again, quietly testing whether reconciliation with the royal family might still be possible. But according to palace sources, that effort hasn't exactly been greeted with enthusiasm. He said sorry, one insider reportedly remarked with a hint of skepticism, and then came another documentary. Meanwhile, Meghan's carefully crafted media empire appears to be facing its own challenges. Some projects have struggled to gain traction, critics have grown louder, and the dazzling influence that once surrounded every announcement has started to flicker. And then there's the issue of royal security. For someone raised under layers of protection that date back centuries, the possibility of losing that shield entirely is no small matter. It's a reality that would make even the most confident royal pause. Friends close to Harry say he's deeply torn. On one side stands his loyalty to Meghan and the life they've built together. On the other stands the royal legacy he walked away from, an institution that shaped every chapter of his early life. According to those who know him well, Harry understands that the storm now swirling around him isn't something that simply appeared overnight. In many ways, it's a storm he helped create, and that realization may lead to the question quietly echoing through royal watchers everywhere. Is it already too late to repair the bridge he burned? Imagine the outcome if things go badly. No Duke and Duchess of Sussex, no Prince Archie, no Princess Lilibet, just Harry and Meghan Windsor. 2 former royals navigating the unpredictable currents of celebrity life without the royal safety net that once surrounded them. Those titles carry more than prestige. They open doors, provide influence, and unlock opportunities worth millions. Remove them, and the entire Sussex brand could face a dramatic shift almost overnight. If William's strategy succeeds, the monarchy may emerge leaner, more disciplined, and fiercely controlled, a royal machine streamlined for a modern world. But if Harry somehow manages to find his way back into the family fold, it would require a gesture of humility on a scale rarely seen in royal history, the kind of moment historians talk about for decades. Whether Harry rebuilds his relationship with the crown or loses his royal identity forever, one thing seems certain. This time, even a royalty can't outrun reality.